Hello, everybody. Welcome to the School of the New York Times. This is our first live event where we're here to tell you a little bit more about our Summer Academy and other programs going on at the School of the New York Times. I'm Jonathan Friedlander. I'm the Director of Communications for the school. With me, because our director of our program is in absentia, she is on maternity leave, Dr. Megan Groom, who many of you will remember from last year, and she's the one who oversees all our academic programs. She's on maternity leave, but we have Casey McCaffrey. Casey?
Hi everyone. Hi everyone, I'm Casey. I'm the Dean of Students here at the School of the New York Times. Met many of you last year at NYC Summer Academy, and I'm excited to meet you in New York and DC this year. And I will try to answer the questions and be half as entertaining as our director, Megan Groom.
She's very entertaining.
I know.
She's,
this is a tough role to
we
follow.
need to develop our report. Anyway, I just want to give a short agenda. We're going to go on for about 45 minutes. Hopefully you're all able to stay with us that long. We want to get your questions, which is the most important part of this. We know people are tuning in from all over the country, perhaps all over the world. So it's different times for each of you. So thank you all for being here. We really appreciate it. And we're really happy and excited to tell you about our Summer Academy programming this year. And there are some very important changes and some really exciting things that we have worked very hard on for a long time now. So let's go over the agenda. Quickly, I do just want to say that we do have some people who are helping us here. So if you see us talk to someone else in the room, we have Rachel, Dan, Joelle, and Victoria here. They're all looking at the questions, making sure the feed is working. Hopefully everyone can hear us and see us. Everything that Dan is doing makes me think I'm not sure that's the case, but we're just going to keep moving forward. So as I said, 45 minutes. Let me just go over the agenda quickly. By the way, when I look to the right, this is where our agenda and where the questions are. So we're going to do just a basic introduction to Summer Academy. We're going to do an admissions overview. We're going to go through some of the highlighted courses, some of the new courses, some of the old courses from this year, and then talk a little bit about student life. So we're going to go through that pretty quickly. Most of this is a reiteration of what's on the website. Hopefully, by us talking about it, we're adding a little bit of nuance to it, and you're picking up on some things that maybe you can't get from the website. And then, of course, at the end, we want to leave a decent amount of time for questions from all of you, which is a really important part of this. So again, I'm hoping everyone can see and hear what's going on. Rachel's nodding, so I'll say yes. So let me give a basic introduction to Summer Academy. So first of all, we are amazed to be going into our fourth year. I've been here since the beginning, so 4 years doesn't sound like a long time, but it's just been really incredible each year. I think undoubtedly the program has gotten better, it's gotten bigger, it's gotten more prestigious, it's gotten more competitive. We're definitely coming off our best summer, the summer of 2018, where we tried a lot of new things, and a lot of those new things worked really well. Let's talk about 2019. So first and foremost, I think the biggest change this year, in addition to us having our typical New York City Summer Academy, which is going to last for 4 terms. It begins in June, it ends in August. Each term is 2 weeks. Students are still going to be living at the Fordham dorms, which are right next to Lincoln Center, these beautiful dorms in one of the most beautiful parts of Manhattan. In addition to that, we have a new campus. It is our first campus extension, and logically, if you think about who we are, being the New York Times, the place to go was, of course, Washington, D.C. The political reporting of the New York Times is the best in the world, and our D.C. programs, which are going to be over the course of 2 terms, in the middle of the summer, so it's going to be in late June into July.
Terms 2 and 3.
Terms 2 and 3. We are going to be offering courses that focus on government, politics, reporting on those things, writing on those things, how those things work, The lineup of courses is incredible, and some of the things that's part of our New York program as well, like writing the big city. We'll have a version of that which will be DC specific. So if you've not yet looked at that campus, please look at it. But of course, still our biggest campus, our primary offering is the School New York Times Summer Academy in New York, and we have expanded it by a little bit. We're not going to grow it that much. We want to make sure we're sort of delivering quality instead of quantity, and so we are going, I think we have 70 courses this year, and Casey in a few minutes is going to tell you about some of the new ones. And you know, again, just to reiterate, these are 2-week programs, residential for the majority of the students who end up living with us. Some students, you do have the option to be a day student if you live in and around the New York area or have someone to stay with, but the majority of students end up being residential students. And by the way, again, maybe I should announce, if you have a question, what to do with that question. So type in, just say it.
Post into Facebook and Instagram your comment.
Okay, so just post it into Facebook and Instagram your comment. So you can start doing that now. We're going to be reading those and answering those later. Again, thought that was worth mentioning. But to get back to the New York program, 2-week courses in New York City. And the thing we emphasize each year is we, of course, are a journalism program, but not only a journalism program. Anything that the New York Times covers, and they cover a lot of things, and they have these amazing writers and these people who break amazing stories and who do incredible international things related to sports, to culture, of course to politics, to art. We have courses in a range of those things, so it's not just about writing, though writing is of course a core component of what we do and tends to be a big part of every course. So want to emphasize that, and of course I want to emphasize the fact that the people teaching the courses are just like some of the best people in the world. They're just, we work with them to design the courses. You know, we're constantly in touch with them. We're consistently blown away by what they are able to produce, the way they're able to transmit to the students over the course of the time together, the relationships that build between the students. All of it starts with the quality of our faculty and the things that they're passionate about, the way they've built their careers, and what they're willing to share with the students. Again, we're just expecting even more, even better, and all of our sort of returning stars are back again with us. It will be great.
And some new and exciting faculty too.
New and exciting faculty, new and exciting courses.
Yes.
So before we get to some of the specifics about the courses, I did just want to go over some of the admissions related stuff. So right now, admissions are underway, so you can fully apply. We're already in the vicinity of receiving about 100 applications just a few days after launching the application, so we're very pleased to see that we're sure a lot of this is coming from students who've previously taken the program. We see a lot of returning students who've applied for a different course this year, maybe even a different city, and a whole bunch of new people as well who have probably heard about us through someone they know who took the program, or someone's parent, told a teacher, told a grandparent, and then it eventually worked its way down to someone saying, oh wow, I can't believe this program exists, I have to do it. That tends to be the way this happens. We have 3 deadlines. Our first early decision deadline is January 6th, so it's coming up pretty quickly. Our priority decision deadline is February 10th. And then our final deadline, or regular decision deadline, is March 24th. After that, if there are any remaining spots, we'll do it on a rolling basis. But our suspicion is there will be long wait lists by that time. For that reason, we highly encourage you, if you are very interested in making sure you get your top choice course, try and get it in by one of the early deadlines. The financial aid deadline is our priority deadline, which is the second deadline, which is February 10th. The earlier you apply, just the better it goes usually. By the time we will get to the regular decision deadline, what is already becoming a rigorous application process and a pretty prestigious program, by that point the amount of spaces available makes it a very competitive program to get into. So we just highly recommend that you do that. We occasionally close courses along the way if the courses are filled out by the decision deadlines. So again, if you have your heart set on a particular course, we encourage you to apply early. And just a little bit about the application. It's a holistic application. We of course are looking at transcripts, letters of recommendation. People are able to submit their SAT or PSAT scores, though I think that's optional. But we are very interested also in what you have to say. So we encourage you, there aren't many essays, so we encourage you to take the time and take that seriously. The punctuation, making sure the words make sense. I don't know why this word comes up a lot, but the word apart.
Yes.
People love saying that they want to be a part of this program, which is great. However, they tend to write it as apart, as in one word, which is actually the opposite meaning. They want to be apart from this program, meaning not part of this program. So things like that. Just try and pay attention to it. We have to read a lot of these essays. We want it to be interesting. We want it to be dynamic. We want you to show us that you're a good writer, a good thinker, most importantly, passionate about the subject to which you're applying. We also really encourage people, of course, you're going to have your first choice course, but list for us 2 or 3 other courses in which you'd be really happy coming, because some of the courses close, some of the courses are extremely competitive. So be sure that you're just listing out wherever you can. Well, I mean, there's part of the application to do it. Be sure to list out your preferences, not just your top one, but the other ones as well. I think those are the major elements. We could get into more detail about the application during the questions, but let's move to Casey, who's going to talk about some of our highlighted courses, and this part everyone wants to hear.
So we have a lot of new courses this year. We also have a few of our hit returners. One of our new courses is actually based off the success of our theater course that was about Hamilton. We have a new one this year about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. And so it's another Theater New York page-to-stage course. So it's very similar to the Hamilton course, but it's be looking a little bit more of different lenses, including race, history, theater, and even fandom culture, obviously with Harry Potter.
And you go see the show.
Yes, you have to go see the show. Both shows.
Both shows,
yes
that's right. It's 2 parts.
This course I'm really excited about, and I'm trying to convince Amber, our academic director, to let me sit in on this one. It's limited edition streetwear industry. So this course is going to be going out in New York City and really using New York City as a way of exploring the new streetwear industry that's going on. So looking at the business, looking at the trends, looking at the people that are waiting in line around the corner on Bleecker Street to get into Supreme. So just trying to find out more about what's going on in that course with a journalistic lens. Some of our courses that are going to be returning, both here in New York and in DC, is Writing the Big City. And that course is a great intro course. If you haven't been to Summer Academy before, I highly encourage you to list Writing Big City on your application as something you're interested in, because it's really just our signature course where you really learn how to think like a reporter, conduct interviews, create informative and entertaining content, and really find those hidden gems that are here in New York and also in DC.
It is our sort of classic journalism course, and it's pretty much the first course we offered the very first year that we ran this, and continues to be extremely popular.
Absolutely. We have some amazing faculty to come in every year to teach that course as well. One of our other favorite courses, and one of the courses that are very popular, is our Inside the UN Journalism Law. It's one of our explorations courses, so I guess I should explain the difference. We have a couple different types of courses. We have intensive courses where students are diving into one subject matter. We also have courses like this one where they're going into 3 different subjects within the 2-week period that you're here. So you'll have the chance to look at experts, work with experts about the UN, work with journalism experts, and also work with lawyers that are connecting all 3 of these subjects together. So it's a pretty cool idea. If you're not really sure exactly what you want to study, look through those exploration courses and start to get an idea of different subjects that might pique your interest and find something new that you might be interested in.
Great. Any other courses?
There's
a lot of other courses.
There's a lot of other courses.
Yeah.
I encourage you to go on the website and check out our course catalog. There's a lot of information on there about what grades are open. It also has information about potential site visits and other things that'll just help you get a better idea of each course. And of course, if you have any questions, let us know. Yeah,
and I think this year, between DC and New York combined, it's over 80 courses or something like that being offered, and they all just look really great.
Absolutely. A lot of new ones too.
So do you want to tell us a bit about beyond the courses themselves, what is the student experience like, student life, things like that, tend to be a lot of questions on that front.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit more of my purview, so I'm excited to talk about this. So I know one of the big questions that we always get is, what is the schedule? What are our students going to be doing while they're here? So students are in class Monday through Friday the first week, and then Monday through Thursday the second week. Outside of class periods, we have elective activities. We also have required activities. All of those activities range in things from like speaker series with New York Times experts and journalists. We also have some fun events, like everybody is going to get to go on a boat cruise around New York City Harbor and also in DC, and that's kind of like our signature social event. We also do a lot of smaller programs where students are getting in and out of the city. That's the biggest part about like socialist part of it, is that as much as it goes, the biggest thing is that classroom time is like the most important part of the program. We really try to supplement that outside with structured social activities as well. And one of the ways we do that is we have color groups. So I know it's something that we usually don't talk about until the first day, but I think it's something that's really exciting.
You're here. This
something
is your
I'm excited about.
Let's talk about color groups.
So students are obviously have their academic course, and they have their academic course where they're going to be in with the same students every day, working on their particular subject matter. But students will also be part of another group, which is their color group, which is more of their like social group. It's the group that they're going to be living with on the floor. It's the group they're going through orientation with. They're going to be doing some structured activities and also some elective activities as well. So it gives students the chance to talk about their course with people with other students that aren't in the course, which is exciting. It also gives students an opportunity to meet some other kids they might not meet because they were in a particular class. I know there's always questions also about just housing and dining in general. Our students are all dormed by gender identity as well as age. We also make sure to feed your students while they're here, so there are meals in the dining hall and dining facilities on both campuses. And of course, there's always questions about dining hall accommodations. If there's anything at all, you can email our team and we'll try to help you out with those.
By the way, we can now share where the students will be living in Washington, D.C., I believe.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll let you...
What do I get to do?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure it's like breaking news, but sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our students, like Jonathan said before, in New York will be at Fordham Lincoln Center, and then in DC will be at George Washington University, the Foggy Bottom campus. Yeah. And I was just there a couple weeks ago, and you can get to the Lincoln Memorial, I think, in 5-6 minutes from the dorm, which was really cool. I'm a runner. I love running down on the mall there. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited to do that a little bit more this summer.
It's a great campus.
Yeah,
it's
really cool.
Campus, yeah.
It's really cool. I know parents usually have questions about where our staff is coming from, who's going to be there with their students, also just about safety in general. For both campuses, for New York and DC, there are residential staff members that are there 24/7. There's emergency numbers for parents to call in case anything comes up. Sometimes something happens at home and you need to reach your student, or your student sometimes is having a little bit too much fun at Summer Academy and forgets to call you, and you get a little concerned. You can call us and we'll make sure we check on them for you. We do have curfews, so our students are made sure that they're in their room every single night, but our residential life staff. Our res staff are fantastic. They do a really good job of connecting with the students and making sure they have everything that they need. We also have a great partnership with this company called Boardingware, and that's actually a software company where parents and students will have an app on their phone where they can track where their students are checking out to go and explore on their own. So we do encourage students to leave campus, to get off campus, go explore New York City, go explore DC. But when they do that, we do ask them to sign out through Boardingware, and we also have a few safety parameters around that. So we ask them to go out with buddies, we ask them to let us know where they're going, when they're going to be back, and who they're going with. And if we ever see anything that looks a little questionable, we'll make sure to change their plans a little bit and give them a little bit more advice on something a little bit closer to campus that they can explore. Is there anything else about checkouts I'm forgetting?
You are not asking the right person.
There's also, I know people always ask about specific policies and some of our really nitty-gritty details about what's going on here at Summer Academy. Admitted students will receive a student handbook and a lot of information after they're admitted. We also have a great FAQ page on our website that has some of those important policies on it, so I encourage you to check that out.
Yeah, I mean, in general, we know safety, what the kids are going to be doing is of great concern. It has been every year. In general, it just goes incredibly smoothly. Kids tend to be incredibly well behaved and do, to some extent, what they're supposed to do. But most importantly, they're just out and about in New York and exploring it in the best possible sense. The field trips are amazing. The RAs are so bright and so interested in the kids and making sure they have these not just sort of fun experiences, but dynamic and interesting experiences. So the residential life has really, I think it's evolved the most of all the things in the last few years, and I think this year is set up to be yet again just really
even better, exponentially better.
Yeah.
Like, it's just incredible how much work has gone into that program.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to cover that we haven't yet covered? Otherwise, I want to move on to just a brief comment and then go right into the questions, which I'm sure we'll get into more details that we will need you for. So why don't we do that? Why don't we switch to questions? Hopefully there's some here. Just want to say a little thing. I do want to leave just 1 or 2 minutes at the end to talk about a few things. First of all, we've gotten a lot of questions. This particular session is dedicated to Summer Academy, but we also do have a gap year program. We know there have been questions about that, and I just want to make sure we're able to talk about it just very briefly, though again, the focus is Summer Academy. Also to mention that soon enough on the website, we're going to have our Parents Exploration. So any of you parents watching, if your student ends up coming to the School of New York Times, you can actually do a program completely separate from the kids. You're in no way interacting with them. Both parties might be in favor of that. We have a special program set up for the parents because we were just requested so frequently. Parents would just say to us, I wish I could do this. I wish I had a chance to take a program like this. We've put together a small version of it. It's going to be about 3 or 4 days. We're putting it together right now. It looks absolutely incredible. So there's going to be details about that on the website. I don't want to spend this session talking about it, but just want to make sure parents know there is this option for them. They're also allowed to bring a friend, bring your spouse, bring whatever. Anyway, let's move to the questions. And here we have some. So the first question is about applications. What do you look for in applicants? What tips do you have for new applicants? I think the best tip is the one I originally gave. I'm happy to expand on it a little bit, but basically it's really what we're looking for is the application should feel organized, it should feel thorough, it should feel like you are not in any way feeling obliged to be applying to us. Some kids who have really good grades, have just sort of put the transcript forward and said, hey, this is, I'm obviously smart enough to come, whatever. Great, that can work, but really what we're looking for is someone who, of course, wants to be here, and has proven it in some way and is able to prove that to us. So whether it be through some supplementary materials, whether it be through really, not just a recommendation that's generic, but a recommendation from a teacher that really shows that this teacher believes you should be here. That's always a good sign to us. And of course, in the essays, that we don't do an interview. Our best chance to sort of hear your voice is in reading what you write. And so if you're able to sort of transmit your passion, your interest, why you want to be here, that is really going to be something that can really sway the admissions committee and make us take a close look at it and just make us take a little bit more of a nuanced look at who the student is as a person. And it just allows us to create a good sense of what sort of individual you'll be in the classes that we offer. So organized, thorough, and good writing, and just again, if also that teacher recommendation feeling kind of legitimate, all those things equal a great application. Let's move.
I think one of the tips for the essays too is make sure you write your essay outside of the application system first, right?
Sure.
So you're proofreading, you're making sure you're saving it there, so you don't want to lose any of your material, get drafts confused. So I would suggest putting it outside of the application first and write it through. That also helps with the spell check apart, right?
Yes.
And then put it back into the application system.
Your detailed way of approaching issues and my more abstract way is very much on display, I think. Yes, that is a very good tip of how to write your meaningful essay. Okay, how old do you have to be to attend? are graduating seniors able to attend? This is very easy. It's open to high schoolers, so if you are a rising 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grader, it is open to you. And the answer to the graduating seniors question is yes. We have specific programs that are just for graduating seniors. So we know they're at a slightly different point in their student cycle, and we've done those for a couple years now, and we have more on offer this year. So the answer is yes. The only thing I will quickly throw in here is, in case you are a middle school student, we do have something, and again, this is not the session dedicated to that, but you can find out more on our website. We have what we call our writing workshops, which happen in the spring. There's a session in March, and there are a couple sessions that are going to be in August, and those are open to middle school students. It's not an application, it's a registration process. It's completely dedicated to writing in various ways, so we encourage you to look that up for the writing workshop. But for the Summer Academy, just to be 100% clear, all high school students going into high school, coming out of high school, you can apply. I'm telling you to keep looking at the question. Can you apply to both campuses? Yes, you can apply to both on the same application. You select multiple courses and you rank them. I mean, there is a way to do this where you do take a course in New York, and then if you want, you could take a course in the next term in Washington, D.C. You could take 2 in Washington, D.C. You could take 2 in New York, or 3 if you really wanted to. But the key is that if you're doing Washington, D.C. and you're doing New York, you cannot do it during the same term, because it is, of course, physically impossible to be in both places at the same time. So that's the only thing you have to watch for. But in general, you're going to rank the courses you want to be in. You're going to state that you want to do more than one term. All this should be pretty self-evident on the application. And then the essays are the same, though, so it's not extra writing, but we will consider you for more than one term if you're interested in that. I don't know if there's anything more you need to say about that.
I think one of the things to note is that our terms line up no matter which campus you are. So you can easily be in term 2 here and then hop on the train on Friday and be at term 3 down at DC.
Right, yes, hop on, yes. Okay, I'll take this next one, and then I think the one after that would be for you. What is the average class size? So the class sizes are between 18 and 24 students. So, average class size, 20, 21 students, something like that. There's going to be an instructor. There's going to be a dedicated RA and a dedicated TA. So there's going to be at least 3 people in each classroom. It's a pretty good sort of student-to-teacher ratio. And then, just to take this moment to talk about the sort of in-classroom experience, it's not just the instructor and the TA, it's endless guests, and we're coming in, trips to all kinds of businesses and relevant galleries and cultural events and businesses and various things like that. They're going to be happening as part of the class. So, there's the main instructor and sort of the class structure. It'll be about 20 students, give or take a few, and it's a pretty good in-classroom experience.
Absolutely, and I think that one of the questions we get a lot too is it like high school, or are you just sitting in class staring at a lecture all day? And it's definitely not. Our classrooms are very dynamic. We have, like Jonathan said, we have guest speakers coming in. There's small group discussions, there's group projects. Everybody is getting around and moving. It's not just sitting in the classroom and listening to lectures all day, which I think makes our program unique.
Absolutely. So I'll read this for you, but I think you should answer this. What is a typical day like? What time does the day start and end?
Okay. So a typical academic day starts around 9 a.m. and class runs from 9 to about noon. And then there's an hour lunch break, and then there's usually another class from 1 to 4 in the afternoon. After that, students will have a little bit of break and they'll have a chance to grab dinner in the dining hall, kind of settle and get ready for evening activities. In the evening, there'll be some activities where, like a speaker series, where all students in the program will participate. There will also be events where you can elect to attend. So some of those might be walking tours of neighborhoods, and those walking tours, again, won't be generic. They'll be looking at it through a Timesian lens, of course. And then students all have to be back on campus by 10 p.m. and in their rooms by 10:30 for curfew.
Great.
Does that answer that?
I think it does.
Okay.
Okay, the next question we have is, are there homework assignments?
So each class, there will be about 45 minutes of work that you'll need to do each evening outside of class. So that can happen during your lunch break or after class. We also have a great writing center, so students can go to the writing center and get help with the things that they're working on, or also work on outside projects, just get advice from these great writing experts.
Great. what percentage of students are residential versus commuters, or as we call them, day students? So the working average tends to be somewhere between 85 and 90% residential students. So the vast majority of students are going to be residential. Now, one of the reasons for that, and this tends to surprise people, is that not a huge percentage of the students are coming from the New York City tri-state area. Only about 15 to 20% of students are coming from the area around, which is a significant percentage. But that means 80.
Fun fact.
Yes.
What's our biggest stunning state last year?
I know the answer. I believe it's California.
Yeah.
So California actually was the state that sent more students, even more than New York. So a lot of students are coming from around the country. So it's about, I think we're calling it 20% tri-state area, 65% what we call rest of country, and then 15%, I think that equals 100, 15% are international. We actually expect that international number to go up a bit, which would mean some of the other percentages will go down. So we're expecting that about 90% of students are going to be residential, 10% are going to be in the day student category. It's a little bit of a different experience when you're a day student, there's no question about that, but it's certainly doable, and we've had it since the beginning, and we're offering it again this year, so it's up to you. Where are we? What percent, is there free time to explore NYC? Can we just say yes and move to the next question?
Yes.
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 Yes, there's free time to explore NYC. It's a big part of the program, right?
Agreed.
I mean, a lot of this, we just talked about the vast majority of students are not from New York. Some have been to New York before, probably most. A few never have. Part of it, people come to see, and experience this incredible city in the summer in a safe environment. People are there thinking that they might be going to college in New York City, and this is a way to explore that. So we highly encourage it. A lot of our out-of-classroom activities and in-classroom activities are set up to make sure students are out and exploring and seeing not just the touristy parts of New York, but the parts of New York that the tourists definitely do not go to, and the New York Times journalists do go to. And that's just a huge part of this program. So, yes.
Yes.
Yes. How do students get around the city? Various ways, but in general, public transportation and walking, which is how everybody in this room gets around New York City, and how everybody in New York City gets around New York City. There is the occasional Uber, there is the occasional taxi, there's the occasional bus ride, but in general, we're using the subways, we're using the buses, and we're walking. And that's the way to do it. A lot of it is supervised. When the students have free time, they'll be in groups. By that point in time, they should have some sense of how the city works, of how public transportation works. Students are given Metro cards as part of the package that they have. They're wearing it around their necks with their lanyards, and that is how they're getting around. And it's just part of living in New York. It's not always perfect, but you end up getting there one way or the other.
Absolutely, and the same goes for DC too. So wear comfortable shoes and bring comfortable shoes for walking around. That's
Definitely.
for sure.
Can you explain the difference between intensives and explorations? Yes, I can.
Do you want to do it?
You do it.
Okay. So the intensive courses, they focus more so on one subject matter, whereas the explorations are exploring 2 or 3 subjects. So the explorations, usually there are 2 or 3 different instructors that come in to teach different modules, whereas the intensive is usually the same instructor for the entire 2 weeks. Is that a good summary of that?
Yeah, I think so. Just in general, one is a deep dive into a specific subject matter, and the other is going to string together a few different parts and find a way to sort of make a cohesion out of them. But it's also a little bit, students sometimes take exploration specifically because they're not quite sure what they want to study. They have multiple interests. Maybe, if 3 are being offered, 2 are their passions and 1 is something they're curious about, and they love the idea of being like, yeah, this is perfect. I get to do a little bit of this, a little bit of this, and then I don't know that much about this, but I'm going to learn that and see how it relates in, and they discover a new passion that way. The intensives are really for, someone really has a passion, something really specific, and they're going to go right after it. So hopefully that explains that. What is the financial aid process? I'm actually just going to read this because what we have written is a much better way than I'm going to do with my sort of real life language. So limited financial assistance is available and aid is awarded on a combination of both merit and need. You can apply online. The link is provided in the program application. And in order to qualify, you do have to submit both a complete program application and a financial aid application. It's important to note that you have to get both in. Nothing will be considered until we have all the documents we need. So submit both a complete program application, financial aid application with all the required documents. And if you have really specific questions about this, if there's something that pertains to you in particular, a question you have, we just encourage you to contact us directly. It's probably not worth us going into all the variations that are there. I'm going to go to the next question. Can international students apply? Yes.
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 We encourage international students to apply.
We have, in a few countries, we have some specific methodologies, just given what can be some of the difficulties of sort of the international application process, but many international students have come to this program. They love it. We love having them. It just adds a unique element to each class, a different perspective. I just remember this stat from the last 2 years. It's an incredibly consistent stat in both 2017 and 2018. In 2017 we had students from 48 countries, and in 2017, 48 countries, in 2018, 49 countries. I don't know what that new country was, but it's Albania, correct. The answer is certainly yes, and many students have, and we look forward to receiving them. Is there a dress code, Casey?
Yes, and it is outlined in our FAQs, so I encourage you to go there and get specifics on that.
Okay, great. How soon after the deadline are decisions sent out? The answer is 2 to 3 weeks. We're usually sort of, it's sort of a big intake group up to a specific point, and then we're going to turn those decisions around as quickly as possible, while also making sure we're giving due diligence to each and every application we get, which is read really thoroughly, and we talked about some of the nuances that are there. Will students have roommates? I think the vast majority will. Is it possible to not have a roommate?
It may be possible to not have a roommate,
okay.
But most of those are only by special request and accommodation. So students will have at least a couple of roommates and specific questions or accommodations that are needed, either for a private room or a room with more roommates. You just let us know.
Okay, great. Where are classrooms located? Casey, you can take this as well.
So the classrooms are located for New York at Ford and Lincoln Center, and the classrooms for DC are at George Washington University Foggy Bottoms campus, right on campus near the dorms.
Yeah, great. And percentage of students in each grade. So what I take that to mean is, of the total body from each grade coming, what's the percentage? I think that I don't have it by grade, but I know that rising 11th, rising 12th graders are about 65% of the student body, and 9th and 10th graders are the remaining. So that's about 35%. Actually, I should say it's about 30%, and then about 5 to 10% are for graduating seniors. And the only reason that number is lower is just because we don't offer that many graduating seniors courses. So let's use that as a little bit of a caution for graduating seniors, just that there aren't as many seats available as there are for other grades. So just be sure you get your applications in. And I think that is where we are going to call it. I think we're out of questions. Let's talk just a little bit about 2 of the other things that I mentioned earlier. One is our gap year program. I want to be very overview about this. Our gap year program is currently live on the website. You can apply. This is obviously for students who have graduated high school, maybe have been in college for 1 or 2 years. It's a semester-long program. It's an intellectual adventure in New York City. You are living in New York, and you are learning with New York Times professionals. You're taking courses across a range of things. Again, I don't want to get into the specifics of it because I'm not going to do a great job. The website is about to have a lot more information added to it. If you are interested in gap year, I suggest you look at it now, but then also look at the same website again in about 1 week. There's going to be a lot more information added. It's a really exciting program. The first class will be coming in September of 2019, and we're also accepting applications for the January, what we would call the spring session of 2020. So you can apply to both of those. It's going to be small classes. We're keeping it pretty tight, and we're just really excited about this program. A lot more information is coming. A lot of kids who've taken Summer Academy courses have already expressed interest in applying to this, as well as other students who, again, are looking for that program that, maybe there's a deferment of college in some way, and they want to do something. Gap year is becoming, structured learning, gap year is becoming more and more popular. We've gotten requests for it, and this program, I think, is going to be unlike really any other gap year program that we've seen or looked at. So we really are looking forward to launching that. And again, applications are open now. The first deadline, I think, is in 5 or 6 weeks, something like that. I could be completely wrong about that. Again, it will run for the first time starting in September, so after the summer of next year. So that is one. And then the second one, which we brought up before, writing workshop. Again, this is open to all high school students and middle school students. It is not an application process. It's a registration process. These are 1 week terms. It's not a residential program. There is no housing offered. These are going to be in August. So these take place
in spring too, right?
Oh, right, and spring, yeah. But primarily 2 of them are in August, and we are doing one in the spring in New York City. All these are in New York City. So we encourage students, again, please go online, look up information about writing workshop. It has some overlap with Summer Academy, but it really is sort of this unique workshop kind of boot camp program to really improve your writing and just be, and you're learning with Times experts, and it's, again, just to have that sort of level of influence, level of instruction. I'll say about last year, this sounds a little salesy, I apologize for that, but last year we put it on the website, we put it up pretty late, it sold out really quickly. So again, if this is something you're thinking about, I know we do have the spring program, but August there are 2 programs, and these seem like they're far away, but they're really not. So if you're interested in it, go and take a look. And the last thing I will say will be our early decision deadline, January 6th, for Summer Academy. That's for Washington, D.C. and New York City. That is the first deadline. We get a huge amount of applications. We encourage people to get their application in early, locate those top few classes that you want, indicate them, write good essays.
Take advantage of winter break.
Take advantage of winter break.
Work on those essays and get those applications in.
That's very good advice. Again, very specific. Well done, Casey. But January 6th is when that's due, and that's right around the corner. We just, I don't know, want to thank everyone for joining us. We really appreciate your time. We appreciate your interest in the School of New York Times. Thank you, Casey, for filling in. Great job.
Oh, I hope
Megan is watching at home and wondering if she's going to get bumped for the next one. Again, thank you. We look forward to reading your applications. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.